Welcome to my world. This is my secret little kingdom where I spend an awful lot of my time. It's my study and I absolutely love it. And it gives me a lot of peace and calm when I come in here. I feel like I've kind of entered my own little realm and I can do what I like and I can be who I want to be, which is usually myself. And I just really enjoy it. And I also love the fact that I've got some of my favorite things in here and I've got lots and lots of books. And when I moved into this house, I had lots of boxes of books, and I wasn't very sort of physically able at that point, and my mother had died a couple of months earlier, and I think I was just absolutely exhausted. You know, it's that sort of post blur when you've been I was caring for my mum. She'd been very unwell for most of that year. It was December, it was cold, I'd already cleared out her house as well. So I'd not only moved from my own house and packed all of that up, but I cleared out her house and got rid of all of her stuff, or kept her stuff as well, and sorted out all of the stuff here. Plus I was living in a rental house with the children, plus I had things which had been in storage, which were in my family home, and they'd been in storage for nearly 3 years. So I had boxes from there as well, which I couldn't even remember what was in those boxes, but all I know is that the really heavy boxes were books. And actually I've still got a few crates and boxes of books which I haven't gone through yet, so I know I need to do that. So when I came here, the children were all at school and uni and things, and so I had to do most of the unpacking on my own. So I got somebody to help me, and she was from Brazil and she didn't speak very much English. Really sweet Margaret, absolutely lovely woman. And she put all my books away on the bookcase. But because she couldn't speak English, she didn't know what the books were. So they were all just put up on the bookcase. Oh no, it was brilliant that she did it, but they were all just sort of randomly placed. And I'm quite sort of OCD about things like my books, and I like to have them in categories, whether it's genres, authors, mostly it's authors. So I'll have sort of all my cookery books together, my poetry books together, my novels together, and I'll put them into sort of authors categories that way. But I haven't felt like I wanted to tackle that job since I've moved here, and I've been here, well, it's now almost September, isn't it? So I've been here for a good sort of 20 months or so. Until now, I've got this kind of thing going on in my brain where I just want to get things sorted. And I've explained to you before, it feels like a sort of nesting feeling, like before you have a child or a baby that's coming into the house, that you think you have to go out and buy 24 loo rolls or 124 loo rolls because you're never going to be able to go to the supermarket again once you've had a baby. It sort of feels a bit like that. I just want to get things done. And I'm so pleased that today was the day that I did that. So I have sorted out my bookcase in here because I bought another one, and it's just brilliant. So now I've got a very simple bookcase I bought for about 20 quid on eBay, which is a lovely teak bookcase, super simple, very practical for all my paperbacks. And I have my bookcase here in my study, which has got all my hardbacks and my big books, and my art books and things like reference gardening, that kind of thing. All my poetry books, my books I've written, and it's still got space now for more books. And there's space on the other bookcase for more books as well. So I'm super excited. How do you sort out your books? It's interesting, isn't it? Let's have a look and see what I've been doing or what I've done. It probably still needs changing, and actually, if you have any advice or any tips, do let me know. Books say a lot about a person, don't they? So here's my £20 eBay teak bookcase, which I think is absolutely wonderful. I love it. And this is the rest of my conservatory. Oh, there I am, look. You've actually finally seen the whole of me. How exciting is that? And then this is my bookcase in my study. So it's now sort of sorted. I've got a couple of free shelves, and I've also got space to put other things, and my lovely prints that my friend did, which I love, and my rhubarb walls. So everything is all in order. So I've got poetry books, I've got hardback books, I've got old books, I've got my books down there in the little corner. And I've got my desk, which is where I do my work, which I absolutely love. Look, I can sit and I look at the steeple on the church and I can see the clock. And then I've got a couple of very sentimental things that I do really covet. and this wonderful painting, which was my parents' actually, of these two women in Holland. It's called The Exiles, and it's one of my favourite things. And I love my rhubarb walls. It's so cool. They're so cool. So now you've seen the way that I've ordered my books, or that was a bit of a speedy take on them. But what I've done is I've put everything in order. So all the poetry books are together, and the authors of those particular poetry books are together. So I don't know, Pablo Neruda, 3 books, all in the poetry section. And the same with my novels. You've got sort of William Boyd, 5 books or whatever, all in the novel section. Then I've got my children's books and the books that I read when I was at school. And I've got books on sort of spirituality and religion and theology and Buddhism and all sorts of things like that on one shelf. And I've got all of my sort of practical guides and things like dog training and stuff like that. So it's really cool. So now I've got like my own little library. I've still got a bookcase upstairs which is full of the children's books when they were little, which I really love, and that's going to stay there, I think. All my cookery books are on a bookcase in my kitchen, and actually some of my big giant cookery books are propping up my chaise longue in my sunroom. So that's not great, but it's a very dilapidated chaise, and I do like to lounge on it when I read. It's lovely, and I watch the sunset, so that's all good. So any tips on any of that, whether I should do anything differently? Some people arrange things in colour. I mean, that's bonkers for me, because it really doesn't say very much about the value of the books. It's just they're just there for an aesthetic reason, rather than you want to find, I don't know, you want to find a book by Tolkien and you go and look for it, and you wouldn't know where you were going to look for it unless you could remember the colour of the spine. Do you guys do that? And then there are some companies I know that sell books by the yard, and they do sell, law books, or they sell leather-bound books, or gilt and leather books, or green books, purple books, orange books, for interior designers to stock up people's bookcases so they look like they read. I have to say, I do think that when you walk into a house and there aren't any books, it feels a bit strange. It feels like there's something missing to me. And you can tell a lot about somebody, about their books and the kind of books they have. Yeah, I think books are great. And now I've got mine in organised form. I've got to go through about 8 big boxes of books that I haven't gone through yet. So I'm sure I'll find books that I've completely forgotten about. But that's very exciting. It's going to be like Christmas all over again. Anyway, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.